Hey there, Prep Marine 81 here. As you can see, this video is going to be over blades, but more specifically, it's going to be over something that I've been mulling around for a while. Actually, years it's taken me to come to this decision. More recently, some of my experiences kind of pushed me to my decision, and that decision is for my everyday carry, my E.D.C knife. Which is better suited for me, a fixed blade or a folder? Now, before I get into this, I don't want people to think that I'm saying that this is what's for everybody. No, this is from my years of carrying a blade, ever since I was a wee little boy, to now. What's worked for me, what hasn't, different things that I've tried and used them for, and lots and lots and lots of experience with it, to come to this conclusion. And I'm not saying that maybe it might change in the future, but I highly doubt it, because it's taken me, Jesus, probably, 20 years roughly of carrying a knife, maybe even a couple more than that, 22 years. I can't remember exactly when I was a young kid started carrying a knife, but I know it was pretty damn young. Basically, I'll tell you my opinion right off the bat that I prefer fixed blades now. More specifically, smaller fixed blades. I'm not saying that, I want to carry a full-size survival knife around with me every damn day. But something like the Becker there, for those of you who don't know which one the Becker is, the green-handled paracord wrapped handle, is the Becker Necker knife. And the one above that is Gerber. I don't remember exactly what that was called. Gerber something. And then the one on the middle right is a Kershaw Crown. Below that is a Gerber Evo Junior. And then below that, the Don't Tread on Me one is just a little novelty knife. But I put these out here so you can kind of see a visual aid as to what I'm talking about, the differences. I'm sure most of you know what the hell a folding knife and a fixed blade looks like, but better than staring at my stupid face. Okay, so here's basically the reason why I've come to this conclusion. I have carried too many folding knives to even freaking mention, and quite a few small fixed blades. Not as many as folders, but because of the convenience of a folder over a fixed blade as far as its size, it's normally lighter weight. You can just slip it on your pocket, that's how I normally carry them, as do most people. I tried for years and years and years to just find, my thought was, well, maybe I'm not spending enough money on one. Maybe the quality isn't there. Maybe I need to step that up. So I'd buy one that was a little bit more expensive, or more highly recommended. And then I'd have that for a while and be impressed with it initially, and then after some time went by, be like, well, it's still not really there. So I do that same step again. Be like, well, I'll spend a little bit more money on it. Buy that one, be like, oh, well, this is improvement. Not always. Some of the ones that I bought were kind of poopy, that I was just like, oh, what the fuck did I buy, and hated it. Ended up giving it to somebody, or just threw it somewhere and never messed with it again. Kind of like that little Evo Junior. That thing's like virtually worthless. It's so tiny. I didn't realize it was so damn small. I ordered it offline, and stupid me didn't look at what the exact measurements were. And then when I got it, I was like, what the hell is this? And I think I carried it for like 2 days, and then screwed it and just tossed it somewhere, and put my old E.D.C knife back in my pocket. But anyway, I kept doing this process over and over again. I thought, well, maybe the quality isn't there. Maybe it's this manufacturer, so I'd switch manufacturers to something else that I hadn't tried before. And it just seemed like it did not matter what I did. I'd initially be cool with the knife that I bought, but then after a while I'd be like, well, it's just not quite adequate enough. Something would fail on it. Something would come loose. And it was just pissing me off that every time I bought a damn knife, I ended up not even wanting to carry the damn thing and would look for something else. And this took years and years and years of me doing this, just because there's so many. I mean, as you probably know, if you're watching this, you're probably a knife enthusiast, just as I am. But there's just so many different styles and blades, or I'm sorry, steel for the blades, and like handles and locking mechanisms, and just not even to mention all the different manufacturers, and they're constantly coming out with new knives. And the quality of them and different techniques and stuff is always improving. So it's just like this endless process of like, well, maybe I should try this, maybe I should try this, and I kept doing that. And I'll tell you what, after a while, especially probably within this past year, I really started putting an effort into deciding, do I want to keep carrying a folding knife, or do I want to just go with a small fixed blade as my E.D.C knife? Because I'm not saying that folders don't have a role. They do. Their size and their convenience, they do definitely have a role. They always will. But for my role of my E.D.C blade and what I use them for and how heavily I use them every day, folders just aren't it for me. They just can't cut it. Well, can't cut it. No pun intended there. And yes, I'm not stupid. I understand that, as always, if your blade is inadequate as far as size and, durability, to handle what you need it to, then step it up. Go to a fixed blade, or go to a higher quality folding knife. Yes, I get that. I'm just saying, for my role of my E.D.C blade, folding knives, to me, just seem stupid. They do. Like, in order for me to get the kind of dependability that I require out of all of my gear, especially my E.D.C knife, or any blade that, survival knife or E.D.C blade, smaller blade, the quality has to be over robust. It just has to be. It has to be able to handle something that I typically would never do to it and not fail. That's what I want in my E.D.C blade. I want something that's overbuilt, so that way, if some sort of emergency comes up where I have to say, screw it, whether or not it breaks this thing, I've got to use it in that role, some prying task or something like that. I want it to be able to do it without just simply knowing that it's going to break the knife. And folders just can't do that. They just simply can't. Not for what I have envisioned. And honestly, through my experience with them, they'll hold up for a little bit, even if they're high quality, but slowly after time, they just start falling apart on you, and you start seeing design flaws and stuff like that. And, to me, really, I'm probably never going to buy another folder other than I had planned on buying the ZT-0350. That's Zero Tolerance, made by Kershaw, 0350. If you aren't familiar with it, look it up. There's all kinds of videos on them. That thing is built like a tank. I have never seen a folder that was that robust. And I'm sure there's probably more of them out there. But as far as quality goes and just how tough they made that thing, it's almost, in my opinion, and yes, it's kind of a initial opinion because I haven't had it yet to put it through its paces or anything. But it might as well be a folder. I mean, they built that thing so strong and sturdy that it probably borderlines on the quality of a small fixed blade rather. But part of the problem in that lies that in order to get something like that high quality and that strength to match a decent fixed blade, that damn thing is like $300, or might even actually be more than that. Last time I checked, I don't really recall, but I know it's somewhere in around the $300 mark. That's just ridiculous to me. Yes, I'm probably gonna buy one just to see if it is that strong, but I probably won't keep it. To be honest with you, I'll probably buy it just to see if it does measure up to what a small fixed blade is, and then sell it to somebody. But that's just ignorance, I think. Why go to the trouble of spending $300 or $300+ on a folding knife just because whoever's buying that obviously needs it to be able to withstand, prying tasks and stuff like that, to have the strength of a fixed blade. If you're going to do that, why the hell don't you just buy a fixed blade? Like, that just seems like common sense to me. Like, why spend $300 when you can spend 40 like on that Becker and get something that's just as strong, if not stronger, and in my opinion, more dependable because there's no parts to it. That's another thing that irritates me about folders. There's always things like the pivot screw coming loose, or the belt clip coming loose, or it getting bent out of shape, or just a multitude of things. It starts to like not close properly, or you have to like oil the mechanism, for lack of a better word, in it to keep it the opening and closing functioning properly. Like, who the hell wants to have one more piece of gear that you got to maintain like that? And on top of that, you still got to make sure it's sharp. Like, that's just fucking stupid to me. Pardon my language, but that just makes no damn sense. Why would you do that when you could buy something like the Becker, which I'm a big fan of, obviously, if you couldn't tell, for $40, and then you've got something that you can do all your daily tasks with. It's not obtrusive. It doesn't weigh that damn much. It's still pretty lightweight. I mean, I wear that thing around my neck, so that should tell you it's not that bad. But at the same time, you can whip that sucker out, which I've done before, and baton pieces of wood. I've baton 2x4s with it. There's a video on my channel showing me do that. And that little bastard did better than a full-size survival SOG knife that I had. So the argument of, oh, well, it's not that much more capable. Bullshit. Yeah, it is. It's 10 times more capable than a folder. But I'm ranting here. But, you kind of see my point there. Like, it just does not make any sense to me. I mean, unless you're somebody who just never really uses a knife or has much need for it other than, like, occasionally opening a box or a letter or something, by all means, yes, a small, lightweight, folder like that little Gerber Evo, that would suit you just fine. But for most of you probably following my channel or watching this video, you completely understand what I'm talking about, where if you're going to spend your hard-earned money on something, and size-wise, you need it to do as much as it possibly can, bang for your buck, I just don't see the point anymore in going with the folder. I just don't. Just do yourself a favor and buy a small fixed blade and start carrying it around, and you'll get used to the differences, but you're going to start quickly appreciating, how much more dependable that is, and how much more peace of mind it'll give you knowing that you don't have to worry about the sucker breaking on you. And I'm probably going to get a lot of people saying, oh, well, horseshit, I've got this such and such a folder that I've done this to and done that to, and it's never failed me, and I never had an issue with it. More power to you, buddy. If you've had that kind of luck, with your folder, then good for you. But I'm just saying, for me personally, and probably for, a fair amount of you out there, you're going to agree with what I've said. Or maybe you've been, like me, you've been on the fence trying to figure out, like if you really want to part ways with your folder, because they are cool. I like them. I'll probably still end up buying some and just to kind of have and play with. But as far as depending on it in an E.D.C role, I don't think I'll ever carry one again. So there you have it. There's my 2 cents on the matter. As always, if you got any kind of questions or anything like that, feel free to leave them. Just be respectful in the comments. As always, there's no reason to be a dickhead about things. But, as always, thanks for watching. And Purple Marine 801 out.